Welcome back to another LP Gallery tutorial. Today we're going to show you how to create a nice transparent balloon with text that appears to wrap around both sides. And as a bonus, we're going to show you how to quickly change the color of your balloon. Because if you're going to use balloons in your project, you're going to probably have a lot of them. And you're probably going to want them to be all different colors. So we're going to show you how very quickly you can change the color of your balloon, have many of them in almost no time at all. Okay, so let's get started. So the first thing to do is we have to create our balloon shape. Now you could use a circle, you could use an oval, but technically a balloon tends to be a little more of a teardrop shape. And that's because you have the little funnel piece at the bottom and it kind of pulls it down. So let's go get a teardrop shape, and we happen to have one. So under basic shapes, you will see a teardrop shape. So we got that. I'm going to hold my shift key down because I want to constrain this to perfect symmetrical. So hold my shift and I do that so it's nice and rounded. Now you'll see the point is going to the right. I need the point going down. So I'll hold my shift key and I'll put it on the rotation handle. When you hold your shift key down and use the rotation handle, you can rotate in specific increments. And that's what I want to do here. I want my point going down. Okay, so now we got the point going down. Now clearly we don't want a straight edge. It doesn't look natural. So what I have to do is use my shape handle and I have to just drag it up. Now obviously we don't want to flatten it, but we want it at a point just where the straight edges start happening. Something like this, where it's kind of rounded and it still comes to like a point. So I think something like that is perfect. Okay, now we don't need the line, so let's get rid of the line. And we're going to apply a nice gradient color. So let's go to our gradients. And I just happen to have a green gradient. I'm in PowerPoint 2013, so I have these nice green gradients here, so I'm using just one of those. You could be in a different version of PowerPoint. You can choose whatever color you like. So we have 3 stops here. Now the trick to making quick color changes to your clip art object is to try and use the theme colors. So I'm going to try to stick to my theme colors. What that means is I'm going to click on each one of these stops and see if they follow the theme colors. These are my theme colors, and you can see that one follows it. And I'm going to go here. That one doesn't follow it. And I'm going to go here, and that one doesn't follow it. So if you can keep to your theme colors where all the stops are the theme colors, then you can make those quick color changes like I showed you. So I'm going to make sure that they all follow my theme colors for this project. Okay, so I'm going to click on this one. I'm going to make that one a little bit darker. I'm going to click on this one, and I think I'll make that one just a little bit lighter. And I'm going to take this one here, and I'm going to make it darker. But they're all following my theme colors. So I get something like this. Now what I'm going to do is rotate this because I want the dark part to come down. So I'm going to spin it down so it comes right at the bottom. Something like this. Okay, now I'm trying to make this look spherical and trying to give the idea of there's volume in it. So all I really have to do is this. I have my white area here. I'm going to put my mouse on the middle stop here, and I'm going to just drag it towards the real dark. And there it goes like this. So what we have here is darkness at the bottom and a graduation of light to dark at the top. And that really gives it the idea of volume and symmetrical. So it looks like this could be sitting on a table where it's darker, casting a shadow up, and then you can see like the light coming around it. So again, something very simple like this gives you the concept of spherical and volume. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to put a nice big white spot here. So to do that, I'm just going to go and grab a basic circle. So I'm going to hold my shift key down so I get a complete circle, nice symmetrical one like that. Obviously I don't need my outline. Now just to make sure I'm staying within my color theme, I'm going to borrow these colors and I'm going to apply it to this one. So I have that. Now I only need 2 stops, not 3, so I'm going to remove it. I remove one of them. I'm going to drag this one over here. In PowerPoint 2013 and higher, we have a little problem with the transparencies. And what I'm trying to do is this. I want my color to go from bright to transparent, so it blends right into the balloon. So you only see the brightness and the rest blends in. Now with PowerPoint 2013, you have a problem. PowerPoint 2010 and 2007, you never had a problem with making transparent stops because they work perfectly. They'd make the color transparent. It doesn't work this way. And this is what I'm going to show you. I'm going to take this stop and I'm going to make it, let's say, a red. There it is. So we got a red to green. Now I'm going to make that red stop transparent. When I drag it over, you can see that the red is still there. And that's how PowerPoint 2013 and higher works. you'll never actually make that color transparent. It will always be there. So that's going to be a problem when you want to go to transparency to right into the background. So what we have to do is this, is to make sure the two stops are the same color. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to make it a light color. And I'm going to click on that one, and I'm going to make that one a light color, just like that. Okay, now I'm going to make one of these transparent, and you get this. You're never going to get rid of the second color. The one that's transparent is always going to show up, but if it's at least the same color as that stop, at least it blends in better. So now I'm going to rotate this, because I want the whiteness more to be at the top right here. And the trick is this. Obviously this is a circle. I don't want it looking like a circle. I still want it to blend in to the object behind. So now I just take this stop and I just drag it more towards the left to the other color, and there it is. Okay, so this is the importance of having the two stops the same color. At least the blending is more gradual. If you make this any other color, then you'll always see it. So trick is, if you want to make a stop transparent and where you want it to blend into the background, then make both stops the same color. You'll just find that a lot easier. Now the next thing is the positioning. I don't want to put it here. That doesn't look quite natural. I want to put it right to the edge. So the idea is that I'm getting a little bit of a sunlight or a light source coming this way. So the light is kind of moving around here, and this is kind of the dark shadow edge. So it gives me that concept of roundness. So I've got light coming here, and it's giving me the idea that it's round here, and of course with the dark area here. So that's pretty good. I can stretch it out a little bigger if I want, and something like that. And I think that's perfect. Now the next thing I like to do, put a little sliver of light color, just a little sliver of a light color here. And again, that helps with the defining the roundness of this. So the shape that works really good when you're trying to make like a little sliver of light like this is the moon shape. So let's go get it. I use that a lot. Here it is. So I'm going to hold my shift key down. I'm going to just draw it like this. And I'll put it here. I'm going to rotate it. And what's great about the moon shape is that you have that shape handle. So you can make a very tiny sliver of light. You can make it a wider, whatever you like. And then I'm going to grab these. And all I'm trying to do is define the shape. And the little sliver of light is going to help define the fact that it's rounded. So we're trying to give the illusion of roundness still. Okay, so once again, I'm going to just bore this color, make sure we stay in with our theme. And I'm going to go to my Format Painter, and I'm going to apply it here. And you have a little sliver of light. Now I'm going to make that a little bit thinner. And I can also rotate this, so I can move this sliver of light anywhere I like. So you can see that. So I can have it going up, down, whichever way I think it works best. The next thing I like to do is give some nice highlighted reflection areas like this. So this should be pretty easy. We're going to just use a circle for this one. I'm going to hold my shift key down, just drag a circle. Once again, I'm going to just borrow a color, and that ensures I stay within my theme. I'm going to just click here, and I have that. Now what I'm going to want is actually a radial blend, so it blends outward. So I'm going to go to my type, and I'm going to go to radial, and what I want is an actual under direction, an actual central blend, and we get something like that. So you can see it gives us a very nice bright spot. So again, you can play with your stops. You know, you might want a bigger one, small one, things of that nature. If you take the left one here with the color, you can make the spot brighter or lighter. You can make this lighter colors, whatever you like. Whatever you do though, if you want to make these lighter colors, make sure you make both stops the same. Now I always like to throw a reflection of a window. Unless you're trying to make it look like an outdoor scene, you're always going to see probably a window. So most balloons, if you have them inside the house, they will always reflect the windows around them. So I like to make a nice little window. There's many ways to do this, but what I like is the idea of a rounded window. You can see right here where the window bars right here are going rounded. So we want to give that concept of roundness. The reflection will look like it's going around the balloon. So we want to make these bars of the window rounded. So it's very simple, very easy. So let's first of all, let's grab a rectangle. And to give us the roundness, I'm going to just grab that moon shape. And I'm going to just draw a moon shape like this because it's rounded. And these don't have to be perfect. You just kind of line them up like this. And I'm going to take this one. I'm going to rotate it. I have to stretch it just a bit to get my handle. Rotate it this way. I'll just make it smaller again. Like that, and like that. I'm going to take those, and I'm going to use my merge shape, or my cookie cutter tools like I like to call them, and I'm going to do a subtraction, and we get something like that. Okay, so we're going to borrow one of these colors, and we're going to apply it to that, and we get something like that. We're going to put it here. Now I'm going to keep with my radial blend, but I don't want it in the center. So I'm going to go to my position and choose one of the edges. I think it looks a little better. It kind of gives the idea of the light coming in a direction. And you can choose whichever way you think it looks good. So you got 4 little edges to choose from. Which way do you like it? I think I kind of like that. And you can skew this up. You can do this. And what you get is the idea of roundness. You can see right there. And you put it here somewhere. And it looks like there's a reflection from a window. And you get that idea of the window. And it's going around the balloon. We don't have to worry about the straight edges. We could have cookie cut the straight edges rounded, but I think that's good enough. You still get the illusion, and it's a simple way of doing this kind of thing. Now, the next part, of course, is we got to put some text and make it look like it's wrapping around the shape. Now, just to save time, I've already drawn the text box. I've typed my text, and I formatted my text. Now, before we continue, we have to make one more change. We have to go to the text box options, go to the text box, and you want to make sure that there's no wrapping turned on. Okay, so we have to uncheck wrap text. We do not want wrapping in this box. So make sure that under the text box options, you deselect that. There is a tool that will actually simulate the concept of text wrapping around a spherical object. So let's go get it. We're going to go to Format, we're going to go to Text Effects, and we're going to go to Transform. Now, in the old PowerPoint days, this menu would have been Word Art. So if you worked with Word Art, you know what you're dealing with here. It's the same concept. Now, there's actually two of these Word Art shapes that will actually work for us. One is called Ring Inside and Ring Outside. And like the name implies, it looks very much like it's wrapping around something. Now, Ring Inside, you can see Happy Birthday is more to the top. It's like you're underneath looking up. If you go to the ring outside, it looks more like you're looking down. That's the one I want to use. Now, if you take a look at that, you're going to say, well, there's something wrong because it wraps the text completely around. We don't see happy birthday on one side. We see it going completely around. And that's exactly what it's supposed to do. So how do you get happy birthday on one side and happy birthday on the other side? It's pretty simple. All you got to do is type it twice or copy and paste it. So I'm going to copy that and I'm going to paste it. Now, if you copy and paste, you're going to get an extra enter, and this is very important. You must remove that enter. So backspace that enter. Of course, if you type it, you're not going to get that. So I'm going to just get rid of the extra spaces, and we have something like this. So we have happy birthday, happy birthday. Now if I go to my format, text effects, transform, ring outside, happy birthday. Now all I got to do, of course, is make it the width of the balloon. And we get something like that. Now we just take this handle, drag it straight down, take the handle, drag it straight down so it's a little bit wider or a little bit taller, and you have something like that. You also have a shape handle that you can manipulate it. So if you want to straighten it out more, or you want to make it more curved, like you're looking really down on it, you have those options. Now if you really want the H to be more into the balloon, here we have it kind of skewed to the edge. It's very simple. If you want to actually move this around a bit, all you have to do is put spaces. I'm going to click in the back of the H, and I'm going to use my arrow key to go in front of the H, hit the space bar once, and you see I moved it in front. So there it is. It looks pretty good. I think it's close enough to what appears to be text wrapping around a balloon. Okay, for the next step, we're trying to do this. You want color and then transparency. If you're in PowerPoint 2013 higher, no problem, because you can actually make text transparent. In PowerPoint 2010 and earlier, you can't do that. So you're going to have to do the second step for that one. Now, I prefer the second step, but I'll show you the easy way to do this. In PowerPoint 2013 and higher, all you got to do is go to your text options, go to your fill, and let's say I'm going to make it a green. So I'll just make it a green. There it is. Now the back part here, I want it to be transparent, so it looks like you're looking through the balloon. Well, that's easy. All you have to do is select that part, and because you're in PowerPoint 2013 or higher, you have a transparency. So you just take the transparency down like this, and there it is. Text in the front, text in the back. And then you can continue to play with it to stretch it down and manipulate the shape and all that kind of stuff. So there's still more to play with it if you want to get it to the exact perfect part. I'm not a big fan of using the word art directly like this, although it's faster. It kind of doesn't give me the control I want because I have to work with both of these at the same time. And what I like to do is separate them so I can work with the front one and the back one individually. To do that, all you have to do is copy this and paste it as a Windows Metafile. That's what I'm going to do. But first, I'm going to get rid of that transparency. It's going to be important that this is a solid color when we do that. So I'm going to go back to my text. I'm going to just make it back to black, just like this. Okay, so I'm going to just copy that. And I'm going to paste it back as a Windows Metafile. In PowerPoint 2013, it's going to be called a Picture Enhanced Metafile, but technically it's a Windows Enhanced Metafile. So we're going to click on that and say OK. And you get something like this. Now, we have a video on how different file formats like PNG, JPEG, Windows Metafile, how they all work. So if you're kind of new to this, you can check out that. Basically, this is how it works. When you convert something to a Windows Metafile, like we just did with the text, this is no longer text. It looks like text, but these are just individual shapes. Now, to be able to work with these, I have to ungroup them. So I'm going to right-click. I'm going to say Group, Ungroup. And when I do that, I'm going to get a warning. So it's telling me it's an imported picture. It's not a group. So technically what it's telling me is when I group it, it's going to literally kind of fall apart. So I'm going to say yes. And I have to do that twice. You always have to ungroup them twice. So group, ungroup, and we get that. So I'm going to click here. There's always an invisible bounding box, and you can see it there. I'm going to just move it and delete it. Now we're going to click on this to make sure it works. Yeah, that works. That's separate. And then you can see the back parts are actually two individual things. No problem. But that's what we want to make sure. We make sure that these are all separate. Sometimes when you paste as Windows Metafile, they kind of break funny. They don't break the way you want, so you have to do it a couple of times. Okay, so this is perfect. Now it's very important when you're using Windows Metafile that the original object like this not have a gradient. So if you want to convert anything into Metafile and you want to take it apart and work with it, it can't have a gradient in it, or the gradient falls apart and it really messes up your object. Okay, so that's why we left this as just black text. Okay, so I'm going to take this, I'm going to just move it out of the way, and let me take this one and let me just put it back here. Now Windows Metafile generally have outlines to them, so I'm going to go to my line and say no line. Remember, this is no longer text, it's a shape. It's not text. You cannot bend it and twist it into text like they did with the word art. It won't behave that way. So it is just a shape, so I'm going to my solid fill, and I'm going to just give it a green. Now what I like about this is that I can still kind of bend it individually without bothering the back piece. So this is why I like the Windows Metafile. And again, if you're in PowerPoint 2007 and PowerPoint 2010, you will have to do it this way. I prefer this better because I get a little bit better control because I can separate these two. Now I take these two right here. I'm going to group them, and I'm going to remove their outline, and I'm going to give them a solid color, and I'm going to make that a transparency. So because they're shapes, you can make shapes transparent, so there's no problem doing this with what looks like text. Okay, so I'm going to take this and I'm going to just put it in the back. And I can stretch this down. And we have something like that. Okay, now this one I have to bring to the front. I'm going to right click, bring to front, so it's on top of the back one. And there's your happy birthday. Okay, that part is done. We got happy birthday. It kind of looks like it's wrapping around, looks pretty good. We have to bring these reflections to the front because they should be technically covering the text. So I'm going to click on that one, and I'm going to click on my little window one and my little small one there. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to say bring to front because they should technically be over everything. There you go. So that looks a little more realistic. So we got light covering the text as it would probably be. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Now let's create our streamers. Now there's many shapes you can use for creating streamers depending on how much time and effort you want to apply to it. So let's make this simple. I'm going to use just two different shapes. Once again, I'm going to go to my moon shape, one of my favorite shapes, like this, and I'll just make it a little thinner. And what I'm going to do, of course, is just borrow a color. Why do it from scratch? I'm going to click on this one. I'm going to go to my home, format painter. I'm going to apply it to this, and there we have a nice gradient. What I'm going to do is make the first and last stops darker, and I'm going to just bring them in again. So I want to make it a little more reflective. I'm going to take the center one like this and just bring these in. So we kind of get this idea of reflection. Okay, so we got that, and this is how easy it is. I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to just rotate it. And all you got to do is put points to points like this. And what you're getting is the idea of curly ribbon. And the beauty is you can stretch these out, skew these up like this. Just rotate them, or you can flip them if you like. And you get stuff like this. And so it looks pretty good. So you can break them up so not so consistent, and you're getting curly ribbon just flowing down like that. So this is why we have the darkness. So if you have the darkness going from the first to the last, then they tend to blend better that way. Okay, so we got some curly ribbon. So we're going to take that and we'll group it. And of course you can skew it a bit or stretch it down a bit, and we'll just move it here, and guess what? There's some nice little curly ribbon. Now let's try another way to do this. Again, there's multiple ways, multiple different shapes you can use, but we're trying to keep this simple. So here's another good shape you can use. The moon shape works fantastic. Here's another great shape. You can use a wave shape. Now if you watch my videos, I've used a wave shape a lot for different things. So I'm going to click on a wave, and I'm going to just drag and draw a wave like this. There it goes. I'm going to rotate it, and I'm going to use my shape handles. So I'm going to give it a nice bend, and I'm going to use this one to give it a bend. Now I want to bend like this, not like that. So I want the points. So there we go. And we have something like this. Let's just borrow one of these. I'm going to click on one of these here, and I'm going to use my format painter to copy that and apply that here. And we have that. So there we go. We got a nice little twisty shape there. Now again, it's the same thing. We just put point to point. And what that looks like is a twisty ribbon. It looks like it's kind of twisting around like this. And no fuss, no muss, and that's it. You're just doing that. And we take this and we do that. We also group that. And then we can take that, make it smaller. We can bring it in, make it smaller, and there you go. So you got twisty ribbon. So a lot of different shapes can be used for this, but I think this is the fastest. The moon shape, the nice wave shape, I think that'll be the fastest, but you can try and experiment whatever you like. Now the last thing to do is to add our little funnel piece here, the piece that you blow into. Now you don't technically really need to do that, but I think it will just kind of tie everything together if we actually do that. Now to create the funnel piece, we're going to use two different shapes. We're going to use the moon shape and the cloud shape. And again, just to save time, I've already drawn them here. So I'm going to rotate this here, and I'm going to use one of these nice greens. So I'm going to click on that. And again, we're going to keep our colors consistent. So we're going to click on that, and we get that. Now I don't really need 3 stops. I'm going to get rid of one, and I'm going to do this. I want my dark to the top. So I'm going to rotate this so the darkness will go to the top, something like that. Now I'm going to take my cloud shape here, and I'm going to have the same fill. So I'm going to click on this one. I'm going to just borrow the fill there and apply it here. And we get that. So I'm going to just flatten this out a bit. Now what I want is for the reverse. We have the dark going here. I'm going to have the dark either going to the side, left or right side. So we can rotate this, and we have something like this. So if we put them together, it's going to have the feeling that you're looking into something like this, just like the funnel piece would be. So it's just like this. So you can see it looks like it's hollow in here, and that's kind of what it would look like. So we're going to take that, and we're going to group that, and we're going to make it really small. And you have a little funnel piece, kind of like that. Now I always like to add one more little thing. So I'm going to put a little streamer here like it's tied around there. So just to quickly do that, I'm going to just grab my little rectangle, and once again I'm going to borrow one of these and format painter, apply that there, and we have something like that. So I'm going to put that in here, and I want to make it really tight like that, and it kind of just looks like there's a ribbon wrapped around it, tying it tight. And then we take our funnel piece and we just put it like this. It just adds to the kind of the completeness of the balloon. So there's your funnel piece with a little wrapped around ribbon. I think that's perfect. So the next step, of course, your balloon is done. What are you going to do? Show you how to change your colors. So as promised, how do you make quick color changes to your clip art object if you want to use a lot of them and you want them all different colors? Well, here it is. Now because I stuck to my theme colors, if you stick to your theme colors, you have the advantage to make quick color changes. I'm going to go to my design, I'm going to go to my colors, and if I run my mouse down through the colors, you'll notice that the balloon is changing. Now you'll notice that the gold streamer is not changing. So even though that originally came from the theme colors, I manipulated it so it was broken from the theme. So because it's broken from the theme, it no longer follows the theme colors. So even if you use your theme colors and you want to keep one color consistent, all you do is break it from your theme. And we're going to show you that with this little piece right here. So here's a gold little piece, and you can see it's following all my themes. And I'm going to break that gold little piece so that it doesn't change. And it's very simple. So here's your color stops right here. Now all you have to do is you have to make each one of these stops a slightly different color. And it's very simple. So each one of these has to be manipulated. So I'm going to click on the first one, and I'm going to go to more color, and this is all you do. You have a red, green, blue. You just have to make one value change in either one of these. Just one. So I'll just take the red, and I made one value change. And I do that to each stop. One value change from one of those. It does not matter which one. Now once you've done that, all you have to do is go back to design, and you'll see that the gold doesn't follow the rest of the theme. So that's it. So even though you may have used theme colors, and if you want something not to change, just make one value change in the red, green, and blue for each stop, and that is it. Okay, so now how do we actually use this for our PowerPoint presentation? If you're going to create a balloon, you're probably going to want like a dozen balloons in there, and you're going to want them all different colors. Now this is very important. Whenever you create your clip art, you should always do it on a blank presentation. Do not create your clip art on the presentations you're going to be using, because you basically can have only one theme, and we're going to be manipulating the theme. So if you change the theme, you're changing the theme for your whole presentation. So this is why you want to use a blank presentation. It doesn't matter what happens to it. It doesn't matter how often you change it, because you're not going to use it again. So we have a blank presentation here, and we're going to manipulate this. So let's say I want a red balloon. So again, you're going to go to design. I'm going to go to my colors, and let's say I'll take that one. So now I have a red balloon. So I'm going to select it, I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to switch and go to my good presentation, and I'm going to paste it. Now don't move this. Once you paste it, you're going to get a smart tag. You'll lose the smart tag if you move this, so you can't move it. You just paste it, and you're going to see the smart tag. Now the smart tag is going to give you an extra option, because now you're going between two themes. The previous one, I chose a red theme, and I had a red balloon. I pasted in here. It's going into my PowerPoint 2000 default theme of green. So PowerPoint is saying, well, which theme do you want? So I'm going to go right here to my smart tag, and I have a second option, and that says keep source formatting. Now what that means is PowerPoint's asking me, do you want to keep that red? Do you want the red? Because you can only have one theme. And if I say yes, and I click on that and I keep the red, what it's going to do is break this from the theme. This is no longer following any theme, although it originally came from a theme. So if I run my colors through that one, you'll see that that's not going to change. The red doesn't change. The green, of course, will change because it's still following the theme. And this is how you can have multiple colors of the same thing very quickly. So let's quickly go back, and let's say I want to make a blue one. So again, I'm in my blank presentation. It has to be in a blank presentation. You don't want to mess up your good one. And let's say go to colors. Let's say I want a PowerPoint blue one. Let's say I want this blue. I click on that. Once again, I select it. I copy that, switch, go back to my good presentation, and I just paste that. Once again, here's your smart tag. You click on that, you go to source formatting. Now you have a balloon. And in no time, you can have a dozen balloons, different colors, within just about a minute time. So this is how you can create one object and use it many, many times over. And that's what we try to show you in a lot of these videos, how not to reinvent the wheel, how to try to take something and reuse it over and over and over again. There it is. Transparent balloon with text wrapping around it and changing it into multiple different colors. So we hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you did, we hope you stick around and catch our other tutorials, because we always try to show you how to do nice clip art, usually realistic looking clip art, and how to try to make it as simple as possible but still make it look good. Okay, so thank you for watching, and we hope to catch you on our next video.